Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Let's Talk Morning Show with me, John, and Dennis. The weekly show where we get together, we talk for about an hour and a half, answering all of your burning questions. It's 2 days after Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to everybody, and also thank you. We just hit 5,000 subscribers here on the channel. I just want to say thank you to guys. Really appreciate that, and thank you, Dennis, for all the you've made a ton of videos here on the channel with me.
Yeah, no, thanks, man. I mean, I appreciate you shouting me out, but you did all the legwork. Everyone knows that. You're the one who's carried this from day one. I've just offered to, throw some free labor out there because I enjoy talking with you. So I'm glad that, hopefully it helped nudge you those extra like 50 people you needed to get to 5,000. But all on you, man. Congratulations. You've built this, and you keep it rocking. So congrats.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. No, but you really did. You really did help me. I mean, Law Abiding Citizen is surprisingly still one of the highest videos here on the channel. People like that video from years ago.
Yeah, well, do they like it or are they angry about it?
Definitely a lot of anger towards our analysis of the third act, but I still stand by what we said.
Yeah, you know what? You have sometimes, it's okay to change your mind, but I think we were right on that one. I know people get upset, they get a little disgruntled, but I think we were right. So stand in our ground.
Yeah, gotta. Mr. Smelly Potato, what's up, buddy? This is our channel bankroll member, and thanks, man. Thanks for all your support over the years. Really appreciate that. Great idea for a video, and yeah, you know what? That's kind of like where we're gonna dive right into right up top. Is like we have kind of two questions tying into each other, basically about the same thing. So let's bring that up, and we'll do that first. It's the title of the video, so I think without even spoiling it, you'll know. But it's from Mr. Smelly Potato, and he says, "Well, that's the wheel for after Dennis leaves." But here's the question. What are the top 10 movies you'll never watch again? Now, me
Yeah.
and Dennis did this in a way where for me, only one is in order. That's the number one. The rest I just kind of made a list of. What about you?
Yeah, pretty much the same. I mean, I would argue that my top three are the top three for a reason, but the rest of them, the other seven on the list, are really just um, not that I hate them, but it's definitely they're ones that, never interested in going back and seeing again.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel. I think everyone on my list, only one I could say like an absolute maybe. And that's like the best I could say is maybe.
Yeah, no, I agree. So I'm curious, what do you got on your list?
Well, I'll start with the movie. This one's like I'll go with the maybe first, and that's actually Teeth, which I don't think I'd ever go back to this movie. I think I'm one and done with this. Like, I mean, it's a ridiculous concept. Obviously, it's like talking about STDs, but what would happen if you got inside her and it got bitten off because she's got teeth in there? That movie, I don't think I'll ever go back to it, but I also don't remember it being a badly made movie.
Yeah, no, and it's funny actually because when we get to the second part of this question, I actually had that one for both. Like I didn't know which list to put it on. If I, because the next question is, revisiting movies. And I wasn't sure if this was one I wanted to revisit or never wanted to see again. So I feel like I share the same sentiment. I don't remember it being like a horrible, low budget, poorly shot movie, but I also don't really remember it being something that I care to go back for. So I agree with you that it's one of those on the fences. Do I want to go back? Do I not want to go back? And I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah, that's tough to say. I don't know. I'm on the fence about that one myself. And this is the other question. So, as someone asks about the movies you'll never see again, okay, 10 movies you haven't seen in years but want to check out again. So that's the question that's also kind of tied into this question. And what's up, William? Glad you're here, buddy. I've
This
seen T 3 or 4 times. That's commitment.
Yeah, that's some, and again, it's one of those films that I don't know. Yeah, I feel like now the more we talk about it, the more I feel like it should be on the list of go back and rewatch. But again, I just don't know. The premise, of course, the STD thing, like It Follows kind of did the same exact thing. Obviously not in the extreme of Teeth. But It Follows was kind of like that commentary on I think it could have gone multiple ways on being a sexual assault victim, on having STDs and how people look at you. They don't understand what you're going through. So I think It Follows kind of is the better version, but I don't know. I agree with you. I don't know that I'll ever go back to Teeth. And if I did, it would have to be something where you said, hey man, I'm going back to it. Why don't you go back and watch it too? And maybe I'd consider it.
Maybe. I love my gore. Williams said, "Yeah, that's one thing about teeth. Yeah, that's a gory one. I do love gore too. That's one thing I love to see. I like more of the practical effect gore. Like Final Destination Bloodlines had a ton of gore in it, but it was all CGI gore, and it's just not the same."
Yeah, yeah, a little different. I guess I'll start towards the bottom of my list too. I went with one that's less gory, but hope I don't upset. I know there's a huge fan base for him and his films, but I put Lords of Salem.
I didn't put that on my never go back to list, but I probably won't. That's a good one. I do think that's Rob Zombie's worst film.
Yeah, it just never. I've only ever seen it the one time, and I just remember being really, really bored the whole time. Like the one record loop plays constantly. He loves. I will give him this. The man loves his wife and
Hmm.
wants to keep her employed because she gets the star and everything. And I just I remember watching it and nothing stands out as really that great. There weren't any incredible scenes and the ending just kind of fell flat. I have nothing really positive to say about Lords of Salem and that I just don't think I'd ever go back to it.
Yeah, I didn't like Lords of Salem at all, but I'm also not the world's biggest Rob Zombie fan. But I did think that was, in particular, his worst film. Whereas I felt like 31 is one that's like kind of very much overlooked. What's up, David? Glad you can make it in here, buddy. Good morning. Well, good
Yeah,
afternoon to you.
yeah. Good afternoon. Get that damn Sherry Moon out of all them movies. Yeah, well that's the thing.
It's Sherry
She
Moon Zombie, man. He right. The guy loves his wife. He like has to have her and everything. And I do feel like she's like the worst part of that movie.
Yeah, I feel like he shoehorns her into so many films and this one, you know what it is? Rob Zombie, listen, the guy does his gore, The Devil's Rejects, Three from Hell, House of a Thousand Corpses, 31, all those kind of movies. When he can just do something outlandish, disgusting, and gory, I think that's where he really shines. Lords of Salem was the complete opposite of that. It was really more like a thriller sort of film. And I think it just was not, it wasn't his wheelhouse. He threw her in the lead role, and it just, of all the films he's made, that is absolutely the worst one to me. And I just won't, I'd rather go back to Three from Hell. I agree, William, though. She is in all of them. I mean, think about Devil's Rejects, has all those films. It's the other characters that you love. It's not her.
Yeah, Richard Brake is amazing. It's like, he gets all the same actors together for his movies. It's like he has his little family. It's just that, I wonder what they say about Sherry when they're like not around her. Like, oh my God, we got to still work with her, huh? Because like the rest of them are like, like Sid Haig. Like these are real actors. Like Sid Haig's was acting since the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and it shows. I mean, all those people I think are great, and Lords of Salem didn't have any of the things that made those other films he made
Excuse
great. So it's
Yeah.
just, eh.
Sorry, I mistyped. Nah, no worries, buddy. But yeah, so I guess I'll go on the next one on my list. And this one was the first comedy, and this one like it hurt me. I'm a big Will Ferrell guy, and Get Hard with him and Kevin Hart. I was excited to go see in the movies, and I hated it. I really did. I didn't think it was funny, and I was like, it kind of sold something I already kind of knew about Kevin Hart, which is I like Kevin Hart when he does stand up, but I don't think Kevin Hart is that funny of a movie actor. Like I didn't get into the ride along movies at all. Pretty much anything that he's ever done, except for that one movie he did a couple of years ago on Netflix, Fatherhood, I think it was called. Like I was just sad though, so I like sad movies though.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's I think even Will Farrell too. I love Will Farrell, and obviously he had a hot run for a while there. But I think that even a lot of his films toward that Get Hard era really fell off. This is one that I agree with you. Just kind of, I think the other guys actually, honestly, was one of the last ones where it was like, okay, this is Will Ferrell, it's funny. And then after that, because he made that other one, what was it? The Holmes movie.
Oh my god, with John C. Reilly, the Sherlock Holmes movie. They made one for Netflix, I think, and it was horrible.
Yeah, so I think that you're right. I think this Get Hard film was almost the start of him kind of getting into that stage of his career where like his films even weren't that great, and then you add Kevin Hart, and you're right. I think I can't think of any Kevin Hart movie that I actually love. But his stand-ups are great. His stand-ups are
Yeah,
hilarious, but his actual movies, I don't think even like he's in the Jumanjis, right? But that is an unbelievably stacked cast of funny people. So I agree, man. I don't think it's a good one.
No, I had to put it on my list because I don't like Will Ferrell. I've tried. Yeah, I'm a big Will Ferrell guy, but I'm Will Ferrell. I think Dennis is right. Actually, I think he nailed it. Like the other guys was probably his last big classic. I like The Campaign, which I think was 2012, but even that's like it's a mixed bag. But there's some great moments in there. Another few that I wouldn't watch again are lost footage films like Blair Witch or Cloverfield. I feel they are just a gimmick and do nothing to add anything to the repeat viewings. Yeah, I've never really ever gone back myself to found footage films. I've kind of learned to appreciate them a little bit because Frank from Frank's Media Reviews loves them. Kevin Kruger loves them, and I've watched a few that are good. But yeah, like the Blair Witch Project, I should have put that on my list because I won't go back for that one.
I almost actually did put that one and Cloverfield on my list, but I picked one that I don't know if it would count as found footage or not. But it's one that I think it was the worst one if you count it, and I'll say it now. It's my turn. Open Water.
Open Water. Well, you are a big shark guy, aren't you? So that one makes sense. And I'm sorry you were disappointed in that. I just won't watch it because of principle.
Dude, it's so bad. I remember the first time I saw it, I thought the premise was really cool. I was so excited about it. And then it is just like an hour and a half of these people floating in the water, literally floating in the water. I don't even think they get attacked by sharks until the last 10 minutes. It's so, and then when they do, you don't see anything. One guy just disappears. It's just so bad. It's so boring. There's no payoff to anything. I honestly think it might be the worst movie I've ever seen.
That might be the worst movie I ever seen. Now, yeah, well, I haven't seen it, so I know now I'm going to stay away from that kind of movie. It didn't look good to me, but I know why it intrigues people. Like another shark movie just came out this summer. I can't even remember what it's called, but people have said it's pretty good. You can always draw people in, like The Meg and The Meg 2, but sometimes they're bad.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen those. There's a Netflix one too. I think it's called Under Paris, where there's like a shark literally swimming in the rivers, the channels under Paris, and attacking people in the rivers. And like, I watched it because I'm a sucker for shark movies, but I don't know why I am a sucker for shark movies because even if they're not bad, like Jaws exists, so there's really no reason to keep redoing it, you know?
Yeah. William liked Cloverfield, but didn't like he said Blair Witch is okay. Like Cloverfield, actually, I remember liking it. I just haven't gone back to it. I remember when that came out, it was like a phenomenon. Like it was like the late 2000s.
Well, yeah, that was right around the same time. I think like Open Water, Cloverfield, Blair Witch was earlier, but then we were just talking about them. What are they called? Those ghost movies, the haunted house
Oh
movies.
my God. I mean, how am I drawing a blank on
Why
Paranormal
can't?
Activity?
Yes, yes. So I think that was like that. There was that period of time, and I think David was right. It was like a gimmicky thing where one of them hit, everyone. I think maybe Paranormal Activity was the first one to really blow it up. Because I know
Yeah.
Blair Witch was earlier, but I don't think that was as successful.
Yeah, Blair Witch was like a 90s phenomenon, and it was a lot riding on the fact that people thought it was real. So I think that's always what hurt it for me. I don't know if probably hurt it for you the same way, is that when I finally caught up to it, I already knew that it wasn't real. I already knew that it was fake and everything like that. But in the 90s, people thought it was real. Like they went to the theaters and they saw it and they were scared because they thought, like, how did they get this? Like they thought because the internet was in its infantry. Like it was really hard to actually find out the truth. Like now, within I don't know, 15 seconds, like like it wasn't
Yeah,
real. So,
yeah,
but the Paranormal Activity movies kind of replaced the yearly Saw movies, and I think because like I think the Saw movies kind of had run their course, and they were just kind of becoming all about the kills, and then Paranormal Activity was more like there's like no gore. It's all about what you can't see.
yeah. And I think that's why it is kind of because if you think about around that time, and I don't know the exact dates, but you have Paranormal Activity, you have the Record series, you have the VHS series, you have the Quarantine series, Cloverfield comes out. Like, there's so many found footage horror movies that come out at that time that I think it was one of those like flooded the market, and it instead of it becoming a really cool, unique thing that like just Paranormal Activity did or just Cloverfield did, everybody did it. Every single horror movie that came out was found footage, and it kind of just watered it down. And it was like, all right, well, never mind. There's nothing really special about this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's kind of like what Hollywood does. I think that's like what's hurt like superhero films. I think people just you watered them down too much, and even if a good one comes along, I think people are just burnt out by them now.
Yeah, no, I agree.
You know.
So what do you got next?
Next up, I don't know if you've ever seen this movie, but I just watched it recently, and it was called Domino, which is directed by Tony Scott. I watched all his movies, and I watched Domino, and that movie was just absolutely horrible. Like did not enjoy it. It was an ugly movie. It was just the way it was shot was like a music video, but a bad music video. What's her name from the Pirates of the Caribbean movies? Is the main character, the main girl? I can't remember her name.
Keira Knightley.
Keira Knightley, yeah. And like she's playing like an assassin, like you don't this just totally miscast. Like she's horrible in the movie. The whole movie's horrible except for Delroy Lindo. I'm hoping I don't have to ever watch that again. I think I sacrificed enough time to it.
Well, that is one that, like Open Water for You, I have never seen, and now I will take your advice and never go see it. It does not sound like you're not really selling me on it.
No, it came out I think the same year that Tony Scott did Deja Vu, and Deja Vu is a much better movie than Domino.
Yeah, I remember Deja Vu. I remember liking it, actually, thinking it was a very interesting concept and everything, but I've never seen Domino. But you don't seem to be a fan.
No, very if a movie's ugly, I really it's a huge turn off for me. Like, how am I supposed to sit here and watch this ugly movie for an hour and a half?
Yeah, I agree. I jumped out of horror for a minute here and into comedy for my next one. And I feel a little bit bad because I do like the actor. I think he just felt like we just talked about Will Ferrell and how like he hit a point where things weren't that funny anymore. We talked about Adam Sandler last week where he kind of hit a point where he fell off a little bit. So I put Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Oh my god! And I know people who love this movie.
I just cannot do. I just not interested. I just think like once Grown Ups hit, everything around that time too just became too. It felt desperate. It felt like please pay attention to our movies, and they just weren't really funny for me personally. Again, people could like them, that's fine, but I'm just not a Paul Blart Mall Cop guy.
Yeah, I didn't like Paul Blart Mall Cop, but I also thought it was like harmless. Like I definitely, you're right. I won't ever go back and rewatch it. But that's just like when they were trying to make Kevin James a thing. Like they wanted to make him a movie star, and it's just like it doesn't work. Like he works on The King of Queens. He works as like a sidekick to Adam Sandler. But when you try and make him the lead in the movie, his shtick gets old pretty damn fast. I kind of agree with David here. I'm not a big torture porn kind of guy either, but there are exceptions. Like I don't like Hostel, but I do like, the Saw movies. Like I do find to a point they did get pretty bland in the middle, but even the Final Destination movies, I guess I don't know if those are torture porn, but it is about the kills, and I do enjoy those to a certain extent.
Yeah, I mean, I like
Oh, and Becky, that was a good movie actually. That was the different kind of Kevin James. I don't know if you saw that movie. I feel like that'd be up your alley.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen that one actually.
That's the one where I think he plays a white supremacist, if I'm correct, and like he's kind of scary.
Interesting. I'll have to look at me. I'll add it to the list of films to watch, not revisit. I've never seen it, but and again, it's nothing against Kevin James. I think he's funny. I like him in a lot of stuff. That was just in particular. I have an Adam Sandler movie on my list too. That like I like a lot of Adam Sandler stuff, but there are just some films. And again, this isn't like the list isn't worst films I've ever seen. It's films I would never rewatch.
Yeah,
And this is one, like you said, it's harmless. It's not. I wasn't offended by it. It's just not my cup of tea, and I don't care to see it.
yeah. Actually, you know what? To piggyback off that, but the next one I'll go with is a movie I saw in theaters, but I haven't gone back to ever rewatch, and that's Rocky and Bullwinkle. Do you even remember this movie?
Mm-hmm.
With Robert De Niro of all people in it.
Oh my god, dude! Yeah. Wow. That
Yeah.
I should have put that on here too.
Yeah, like I remember seeing it in theaters, and I remember I saw it in theaters. Like I was excited because we used to on Long Island have a place called Bullwinkles, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I want to see the movie about this." And I was like, I don't think I get it."
No, that was a huge miss. I remember, dude, I should have put it on my list. Same thing. I haven't seen it since then either. Like that's how long it's been. And when did it come out?
2000, dude, 25
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah, and I mean I was what, 6?
Mm.
So
Yeah. Well, we were the target audience at the time. It's just that it was, now it's like De Niro start now when he was just like do some cash grab movies because clearly that's what he took was the money for that one.
yeah. Yeah, 100%. I agree. That was not a great one. Not a huge fan.
Ooh, I wonder if you'll agree with this one. Am I wrong for saying Get Out is one and done? I found it bland, predictable, and overrated. See, I really enjoy Get Out. I actually think it's not, I'd probably put it actually at number three for me when it comes to his films. Actually, I personally think Us is the best, then Nope, then Get Out, because I do think Get Out got a little overrated. Good morning, Uncle V. Glad you can make it.
Um, so I'll answer both questions. I didn't comment on the Hostel one either. I agree on the torture porn thing. I like the first. I think that's my thing with all of them because we talk about like even the Terrifier also. The first film in those kind of movies is usually pretty good because it's a little bit more story driven, and the Hostel premise is interesting. You know, like wealthy people paying to be able to kill and all that. It's very like feels like it could be real. But I do agree. Once it like if it's a torture porn film as soon as it starts getting sequels, you lose character development, you lose story, and it starts to become about the kills, and they fall right off. With Get Out, I kind of agree in the sense that like I get it. It feels like a slow burn, like they're leading you to this big plot twist the whole time, and I think the plot twist is kind of cool because correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like they're putting old people's brains basically like minds into other people's bodies, right? Like they're hypnotizing you to get a better body or something like that.
Yeah, essentially the whole message of the movie is that white people are essentially want the bodies of black people and take over their they steal from them essentially. Then they're literally in this movie stealing their actual bodies. Like the main guy, Stephen Root's character, he's blind, so he wants his eyes because when he wasn't blind, he was a photographer, and Daniel Kaluuya happens to be a photographer, and he wants that because that's what he wants. That's what he imagines himself being. It gets a little bit like all of Jordan Peele's movies feel like Twilight Zone episodes, so it's like kind of funny that he eventually made a Twilight Zone like the reboot show because like if you watch like it's hard to like always go back because like when you know the twist like sometimes a twist can ruin a movie like as far as rewatchability, like some don't, like The Sixth Sense doesn't, but The Village, like my god, no.
Oh, dude, I should have put that on my list. Pretty much all of M. Night Shyamalan's movies, except for The Sixth Sense, I feel like the twist at the end is just horrible. I don't know, it might be an unpopular opinion, but we even remember what was that film we just watched with the stupid island and
Oh,
people
old.
age? Yeah, my God, the rocks are magnetic.
Morning, guys. Glad you can make it in here. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
good morning.
I liked actually I liked old a little bit, but the ending ruined the whole movie for me too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the movie itself was so good, and it's like M. Night Shyamalan. So you the whole time you're waiting, like, oh, this explanation at the end is going to be crazy, and then it's that the rocks are magnetic, and you're like, okay, cool. So I just, but for Get Out, I think just personal taste wise, it's not really something I'd go back to because it's a little like dense. You really have to sit there and think through the whole thing, and with all the hypnosis and what's real, and it's just it's not one I would go back to. I don't know that it's overrated, underrated. I just think to me, it's not something that I'd be interested in going and rewatching again.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. I probably will rewatch. I've rewatched it a couple times actually, but again, I always rewatch Us every year. I feel like that's a great summer horror film that like gets overlooked a lot. I think because of Get Out,
Mhm.
and that's kind of what I think sucks for that one. Um,
Yeah.
let's see what he said. There's nothing magnetic about Dwayne Johnson to me either. No, there is. Although we love The Rock.
Yeah, we like The Rock, not Dwayne Johnson.
No, the Dwayne Johnson and The Rock are two separate entities. The character of The Rock is great. Dwayne
Yeah.
Johnson can be a real turnoff sometimes, unless it's a
Yeah.
Fast Five film.
I think it's on me now. So you just did Rocky and Bullwinkle, right?
Yep.
So I'm going to go back to the torture porn category, I guess, since we were just touching upon it, and I put Cannibal Holocaust.
Really won't rewatch that,
I will not rewatch that.
even though you recommend the film. And actually, Uncle V's here. He sent me the song from Cannibal Holocaust, and it was good.
Yeah, it's I think it's one you should see. I don't think it's one that you should never see if you're, fan of movie making and horror in particular, but they butcher a real turtle. I mean,
Ah,
the things that they do. Like I remember actually watching the first time I saw it. Me and my brother were watching. We were trying to watch it and talk about it, and they get to this scene again. Spoiler alert: they have to eat and they're literally slaughtering a turtle to eat. And I'm watching this and I'm like, dude, this looks so real. These effects are incredible. And I texted my brother and was like, dude, this turtle scene is really messing me up. I don't know how they made it look real. And he was like, oh, because it was real. They got fined because they actually slaughtered a turtle on camera.
That's fucked up. But
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
it's
yeah.
stuff like that, dude, that like this film,
But you appreciate the art of it.
yeah, I mean, it is, it's,
Yeah, it's
I don't
tough
know.
as an animal lover. But yeah, I also kind of, art. The thing about film is it's like experimental, especially that's a 70s film, right?
Yeah, and they
They
did
were
so
really
much.
going for it in the 70s.
Yeah, and I mean the thing too, like when I told you about it, like the director, they made it so realistic that he made all of his actors and actresses hide afterwards to make it seem like they actually were murdered, and it got so bad. There was like, I'm pretty sure there was like an arrest warrant out for the director because they thought he literally had everybody killed, and he had to have all of them come out of hiding so he wouldn't go to jail because the film is that it's that gritty and that gross that you feel like you're watching a snuff film.
Huh. I mean, that is interesting, and that's weird how a snuff film like floats that line. Like, that Bring Her Back, the most recent film from those two guys, the two YouTubers who did Talk to Me. That like the opening of their movie opens with like basically is a snuff film, and it's crazy. Like that's why I said that movie is like a much darker version of Talk to Me and a little less digestible. And as far as Shamrock said about Saltburn, didn't make my list, but I won't ever rewatch that one again. Have you seen Saltburn?
I have and 100% agree.
You won't
It,
watch that again. Did you not enjoy the sex with the grave scene though?
all right, listen. I would rather talk about torturing or killing turtles. It's not good, not good. Yeah.
Yeah, Saltburn, like it's weird because Saltburn floats a weird line where people either I feel like absolutely hate it or absolutely love it, like they appreciate the art in it. I mean, I can appreciate the message of the movie about like how rich people are weird, essentially, is like what they're saying, and like how some people like crave that lifestyle. But like, I'm just not personally into drinking like cum bath water, but like some people are, I guess. It's like
Yeah, the
yeah.
problem is you're not rich enough, John. If you had millions of dollars, maybe you'd be interested in that.
I'm ashamed Brandy Keough is Irish. Yeah. That dance at the end, my God.
Horrible.
But purely because I find it to be extremely generic. I like The Martian, but I do see what you're saying. I haven't rewatched it since that came out.
Yeah, I've only seen it the one time. I do kind of agree. It did have kind of a generic, but I don't. How much is that? Like, it's Matt Damon, right?
Yeah.
I feel like he is as generic an actor as you can get. Like, he is literally, if Hollywood 3D printed a white male actor, it would be Matt Damon.
Really? I mean,
Yeah.
I love Matt Damon a lot of the time, but I do see what you're saying. He would definitely be the blueprint, the template, because you can kind of plug and play with him.
That's what I mean. Like, he just kind of does. I feel like he's never done like one particular thing overly incredible. Like Jack Nicholson plays a psychopath so well. So like he kind of gets typecast as that. I don't feel like Matt Damon's typecast as anything because he's kind of just like middle of the road at everything.
I drink cum bathwater before all podcast, John. It gives me energy. Well, it's that extra protein.
Oh God.
I mean, you
I'll
know
stick
what?
to the coffee.
Yeah, I got the coffee. But you know what? What am I saying? Sydney Sweeney's selling her bathwater now, so it's just a different world out there today.
Yeah. Who would have
I'm
thought,
gonna sell
man?
mine. I see how that goes.
I'll buy a couple.
You know,
Get
maybe
you started.
I'll eat Taco Bell in the bathtub or something. I don't know. Like so, whatever leaks out, it'll be great.
Whatever leaks. Oh God.
Next one up, I got just what I thought was a very like to shift away from like comedy and stuff for a second. I got one that was nominated for Best Picture and everything, and I watched it because I like to watch the Best Picture nominees. And this movie's by Alfonso Cuarón. Guy made Gravity and probably the best Harry Potter film, but Roma. And I feel bad saying this because it's like literally about his childhood and everything. But this movie just felt so pretentious to me and like really had nothing in it. Then some people loved it. Like it was shot beautifully, but I left the movie like feeling like I felt nothing, and I don't want to go back and feel that again.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've only ever seen it the one time, and I do. It's like I don't know if vapid's the right word. There's not a lot of like meat to it, you know. It's just a very it felt like self-serving, I guess, like you said, pretentious. Like it just was. It was there. It was fine. They did what they had to do to, I guess, win. You know, they win Best Picture, but there's nothing about it that pulls me back. There's nothing about the plot, the story, the characters, anything that's like I should go back and revisit this. You know, it's one of those I feel like seen it once, can say that I saw it, move right along.
Yeah, that's exactly what it felt. And like, there's just I want to put one of those on the list just because I feel like there's like two or three of those every year that get nominated for Best Picture, and then you never talk about them again. It's like they almost like push it down your throat, like to go see it. Like, what was the movie last year that actually? I mean, everyone hates it now. I never even ended up seeing it. It's like one of the Best Picture nominees. Like Amelia Perez. Like everyone was pushing that one, and then I never even watched it.
Well, I think, and I mean, people have come out about it a lot lately, actors and even musicians with their award ceremonies. It's like the major studios, they are the ones who control who wins, they basically claim. So they push what they want. And like you said, it's just funny how you'll have, you know, how many movies come out in a year that are really great. And because they were released too far in advance, or if they were not, you know, not directed by one of the major studios, or like their new darling director or whatever it is, they don't get the chance. And like you said, how many people will win Best Picture and then no one ever even talks about the film again for the next 15 years? So I think that's kind of the problem in Hollywood, is they push what they want you to like.
Yeah, exactly. And like this is what Uncle V just said, self-indulgent. And that's very, very true. They do it like I think it was also Kenneth Branagh who did one about Belfast. I think that was the better version of it, but they are very self-indulgent. That's the best way to put it. They're self-indulgent films. You know, they're kind of the movies that, you know, they want to push down to your throat. And like those are the ones they'll even get like podcasters to like tell you how good it is. And then you go and watch it. And you're like, yeah, this is the movie that's nominated for Best Picture. Then there's always like that's why like 10 years later, like people start bringing up movies that should have been nominated. Like, you know, just look at how many Best Picture nominees and be like, how many have you actually seen of these?
Yeah, yeah, and that's I think the problem with it. And I like that you put that on. And when I was actually doing the research for this, there was a really good article that I read where someone did a list like this, and they said that a lot of the things they added on their list were major box office films, because to them, those are the ones that should be good. Those are the ones they have all the funding, they have all, so like to them, not great if you have hundreds of millions of dollars in a major motion picture studio behind you and you flop, versus like if me and you got $50,000 on a GoFundMe and made a movie, like you're not expecting ours to win Best Picture, but the one that has $100 million behind it should probably be a good movie. So I'm glad you added that to this list.
Yeah, I had to put like one on that because it's just every single year, two or three movies come along, and like everyone pushes them, and it just always drives me nuts because I like to watch the Best Picture nominees, and then I just watch and I go, "This is a Best Picture nominee because of all the ass kissing going on in Hollywood." Like, oh, we'll get you the nomination, like, but it's not actually for anything other than those people, and I just hate things like that. And like
Yeah.
Shamrock said, it's like they're out of touch. Like that is just so true.
Yeah, I mean, they're out of touch. I can't speak. I have actually never even been to Ireland or anything, so I don't know. But they're out of touch with everything. I mean, it's funny, even little stuff too that I think about. Like whenever you watch a movie, if it's like high school kids, how many of those high school kids have incredible muscle cars and like these awesome vintage Wagoneers and Broncos and all this shit? And I'm like, dude, what high school did you go to? Like when we went to high school, kids had like 1997 Honda Civics
Yeah,
that
normal.
barely ran.
Yeah, because they can't afford to get a car like that, and even if they could, their parents aren't going to go buy them a Mercedes or something like that, or an old Bronco, like you said, cleaned up and lifted. Like, yeah, that's the car you got to drive to school. It makes no sense.
Yeah, so they're agreed, out of touch.
Yeah. What's
My
up,
next one,
Christian?
hey Christian. Um, I did go with and actually a director we've been talking about. I Have the Happening.
Oh, okay. Yeah, M. Night Shyamalan. This one actually, it makes me laugh though now because of how Mark Wahlberg is in that movie.
I think it's like a double whammy for me on this one, because one, Mark Wahlberg I just think is like subpar at absolute best, and again, like we talked about, old, the rocks are magnetic. This one's like, oh, the trees are blowing dust at us. It's just like, dude, come on. This I just couldn't. I don't know. This one just you sit there and you wait and you wait and you wait, and it's just like The Village. Put The Village right next to this one because you're like, oh, big twist, big twist. What's gonna happen? It's gonna be so cool, and then the twist happens, and you're like, okay, well, never getting that hour and a half back of my life now.
No, the plants are evil. That's it. That's the
Yeah,
message of the movie.
that is literally it.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you put that one on your list because that is terrible. Which one do I want to talk about? I have just gonna give you a couple of movies in one shot right here because they all kind of go together. They came out around the same time and they're like childhood movies. Baby Geniuses 1 and 2 and the movie Paulie. I don't know if you remember
Oof.
that movie.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. I'm never going back and rewatching them. And Paulie, like I have a distinct memory of going to PJ Cinemas and seeing the movie, and yeah, just I hated it. And I've heard people say, "Oh, Paulie's good." I'm like, well, you know what? I don't want to find out again.
yeah, and we actually had this discussion before we went live, and I love the comment that you made a couple weeks ago that you heard someone say, "Were you 8 or was it great?"
Yeah,
And I think these all of these are examples of you were 8.
exactly. Because I did like the Baby Geniuses movies when I was a
Mhm.
kid. Another one where I guess my dad didn't really like he's not a movie guy. So like if my mom took me, like it was different. She liked movies, so she saw movies she wanted to see. My dad just like kind of took us to, like whatever the kids movies were at the time. So saw Baby Geniuses in the theater. And I liked them then. Like it's cool to see babies talk, Rugrats. But when you watch that now, I'm sure it's like probably mind-numbingly horrible.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with child movie, right? Like nostalgia is one of the most powerful drugs in the world, right? Like
It is.
nostalgia will make you think that anything just because you saw it at a time in your life when you were a kid full of innocence and enjoying everything.
I just have to know. Do you say that Jaws the Revenge is not a good movie?
So anyway, um, I will answer that in a second. So I just think when you're a kid, you love things differently than when you're an adult, and we talked about it. It's a very dangerous, dangerous game you play to go back and watch a kid's movie that you loved as a kid when you're an adult now, because your adult brain might look at it and be like, "This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen."
Exactly. He said I seen that when I was 8. So Jaws the Revenge gonna have an influence when you're a child. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, you answer the question: Were you 8 or was it great?
Yeah, and he was like, "I was 8." Someone I know loves the film Paul, and we don't talk anymore, but not due to that. He turned out to not be a friend. I thought he was. Well, I'm sorry, and that just should tell you something. He loved the movie Paulie. Like you can't trust somebody like that.
Yeah, can't trust them.
So,
Um,
you want to throw some out there?
yeah, yeah. Well, I guess I'm gonna go with. I'll do two at the same time. One's newer, one's older, but they're both just really bad. I mean, and they're horror movies. So I got Human Centipede and Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Oh, yeah, those are definitely both terrible movies.
Have you seen the Winnie the Pooh ones?
I only watched the first. I mean, I heard from people that the second one. I was saying it's still great. I heard that the second one's better, but I'm like, why would I waste my time?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't ever. I watched it solely because I thought it was hilarious that they got the rights to do it. But it is horrible. And then same thing, Human Centipede, dude. Like, cannot believe that they made three of them, four of them. I don't even know how many there are now.
I hope it was 3. I hope that's where they stopped. I thought they shouldn't have gone on after 1.
How? Who saw that and was like, what would be great if we added more people to this? Like, it just,
It
I
had
don't
to
know.
make money. They had to make money. That has to be what it is. They probably cost like, a pack of gum to make, and then people like have to see it because of the shock value. Like, what is this movie? And I mean, I'll be honest, it worked. Like that's the reason why I saw it. I was like, I have to
Yeah.
see what this is.
Well, not only would I never go back to the original, but I have never watched two or three because I've seen the original. So I would never watch two or three ever, and I will not go back to the first one because what it's just gross. It's just I don't understand people's minds. What writer was sitting at home one day? It was like, make a great movie if we just sewed people's mouths to each other's ass.
And they said that green light it.
Yep.
Green light it and let's get this out there. And if it does well, you know what? I love your trilogy idea.
Yeah, just brutal, brutal, brutal. Can't. I don't know. Hate it. Would never go back. And Jaws: The Revenge, I would rather watch over Open Water. I will say that.
Fair enough.
So I only have three left. What do you have?
I only got three left too. I'm gonna put number three. I'll go with superhero film. I'm gonna go with Morbius. I saw this a few years ago, the Jared Leto one. This one's still. This is the worst movie I still have seen like over like the last 10 years. I hate this movie. I mean, maybe it's because I had just a horrible theater experience watching this, but I just thought this movie was just terrible. And honestly, real big turnoff for Jared Leto after this and Suicide Squad.
Yeah, he should not be allowed near any superhero movies. And I personally, I know that there's probably zero link to this, but I do think that the failure of that is what is pushing the delay for Spawn, because they tried to make a spooky superhero and flopped so hard that I'm sure studios, it's going to take them a while to recover from that and be like, okay, maybe we could do Spawn, and we need a Spawn. Damn it! I will die on this hill. Please, for the love of God, Hollywood, make a Spawn movie.
Stop making every MCU film. We've gone through every superhero now, and we're going back around. Let's try something a little bit different.
Yeah, god damn. And then before, I think we have two. So I'll go with one. I have another comedy actually before we dive into the other two, and it's Jack and Jill.
Yeah, I thought this might be the Adam Sandler one you were talking about. I agree. I'll never watch this again, but he's put out a few of these, and I think this probably is his worst.
Yeah, this to me is because I was looking, and to be fair, there's like a whole period of time where I could have picked. I mean, I hated Click, and I would never go back and watch Click again. Um, there's quite a few that he's made that I'm just like, dude, what were you thinking? But this one, far and away, I don't understand Hollywood's obsession with making an actor play himself and his sister, because they did it like 11 times, and none of them were good.
I've heard some people say that they don't like movies where people play twins because, like, it's just very distracting. It's the same actor. I'll argue that the time it works best is like actually Dead Ringers is a good one with Jeremy Irons. But I was going to say Trading Places. Or Trading, was it Trading Places? Is that the name? Trading Places, Trading Parents? I don't remember what the fuck. The Lindsay Lohan movie from 1998.
Oh, Parent Trap.
Parent Trap, yeah. I don't know how I forgot that one, but I mean, that's where I found one of my greatest loves was in that movie. Peanut Butter and Oreos.
Dude, nice, nice.
Which piggybacked into one of your honestly genius ideas, which people should know about, which is taking chocolate fudge Pop-Tarts and putting peanut butter on them.
That's right. Toast them a little bit so they get warm. Smear the peanut butter over the top and have at it.
Yeah, honestly, that's been your biggest contribution to society, I would say.
Yeah, well, I remember you were sleeping over the house and it was like midnight, and you were like, "I want Pop-Tarts." I was like, "Dude, wait till you try this."
Yeah, you have that now. I'm honestly sick the entire next day.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I don't even have Pop-Tarts in the house anymore.
That combined with the milk, I'm gonna be dead.
Yeah.
Yes, that does include Michael J. Fox playing his own daughter in part 2. That is freaky.
Weird decision for sure.
Yeah.
All right, I'm up to my last two films I would never go back to. What do you got?
I got the worst sequel of all time, the one that actually betrayed me the most, Dumb and Dumber 2. I watched that in theaters. I walked out. Honestly, it made me feel like I didn't love Dumb and Dumber as much anymore. I was so betrayed by that movie. I thought it was horrible. And it's weird because it's the same directors, it's the same two lead actors, but I guess it was just 20 years too late.
Yeah, I think that I agree with you. The problem is they didn't do it when it was hot and when that kind of humor was what everyone loved. You wait so long, people change, views change, everything. I mean, you just can't do that. I agree. No need to go back to it. Go back to the original. It's the better one.
Completely agree. Definitely just do that.
I have one that I watched just very recently, and when I told you about it, you apologized. So I appreciate your support in this, and that's Baby Girl.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy this movie at all either. Didn't make my list, but I did not enjoy this one. It's basically just I don't get it. It just kind of ends too. I've heard people defend this movie, and I'm like, I don't think there's much of a defense. I get what they're going for, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about gore before. Like torture porn. This is just softcore porn. To me, this is like a porno director got his break in Hollywood and was in the middle of shooting scenes that were just straight up porn, and then realized halfway through, oh, wait a minute, wrong job, and then threw some clothes on top of people really quick. It just missed on every mark. It's one of those, I only watched it because we had that A24 question. I was like, oh, this is an A24 film I should watch. And it just, It's one of those affair movies, which I feel like is so overdone at this point. You know, powerful person has an affair. How does it end? But this one was just like they also wanted to be 50 Shades of Grey, but the guy was like not confident at all in his ability to be a dominant guy. The whole time I just was like really uncomfortable and would never go back.
No, I don't blame you for that one. And then I believe we have the same number one.
Yeah, speaking of torture porn.
So I hope Uncle V's in here for this because he's damaged 2 people's lives at least. Actually 3, because I know Matt feels the same way too. A Serbian film.
Absolutely 100%. Almost didn't even put it on the list because I want to just forget about it.
I want to forget
it. Yeah, I mean, give your feedback.
Yeah, for me, this is just I didn't expect this. Like this kind of was a surprise. Like the story goes that me and Matt hadn't actually seen Vinny in a very long time, and we saw Uncle V. We're a new YouTube channel, this channel, and we're like, okay, like someone has a request for us to watch a movie. So me, him, and this girl Paige, we sat down, we watched it. We were gonna take notes, like do the real serious thing. And you know, like about halfway through the movie, we're like, I don't understand like what the fuck this even is. And then obviously once you find out about newborn porn, it's like, you know, there's no like hope in the world.
Yeah, no, this one for weeks, probably months afterwards, I struggled because it is insane, over the top, just and again, when you try to put your critical cap on, you can kind of understand the message that they're talking about that whole industry and how people are pushing it to extremes and eventually this is going to become what it becomes because we're not stopping it and whatever. But God almighty, dude, this is just brutal. And that ending, this movie is the perfect example of just when you think they've crossed the line and they couldn't go any further, they spit on the line and move well past it.
Yeah, no, they literally are trying to move the line. And that's like basically what the movie was made about, was to shock you. So you know, just forget about that one. They're making a documentary about it because obviously it's so shocking. I've never seen Dumb and Dumber, but he's like, what is the most annoying sound in the world? You know what's great is if you watch that scene, Jeff Daniels breaks, and that's why they have to cut so fast. Because he didn't know he was going to do that.
Oh, that's good.
But to shift into the other part of this question, movies that we want to go back to. The first one on my list is, and this is the one like I really wanted to talk about because I actually haven't seen these movies since they came out. I saw the first 2 for a long time till the third one came out, and that's the Spider-Man trilogy, the original Spider-Man trilogy from the 2000s, the Sam Raimi ones.
Oh, Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, I don't really like Toby, and for me, what did it was I actually really liked Spider-Man 1 and 2. Like I saw them both in theaters. I couldn't wait to see Spider-Man 3 to the point that it was sold out the day it came out, and we bought tickets to another movie, and then we sat on the floor of the theater of Spider-Man 3 because we had to see it. And I could not believe that like I did that for that movie to watch this fucking jerk off dance. I couldn't.
Well, yeah, I mean, to be fair, the first 2 were real. I think that Green Goblin in the first one was awesome. Willem Dafoe was really perfect for that. I think that Dr. Octopus was awesome, and they were the first 2 movies I did really like. I thought that they were really, really good Spider-Man movies. I talk about this all the time because my wife likes That 70s Show. And when we watch it and I see the main character, I'm like, I can't believe this is the guy they made Venom. Like
Topher
this
Grace.
guy. Yeah, like this is the guy that they said, you know who'd be badass as Venom is this fucking guy.
Oh my god, this is a funny story right here. My dad was Serbian, not knowing what it was, wanted to watch the film. We turned it right off when it began. The film does not represent Serbians. Hell, I'm one of them. Yeah, that's the worst part about it. You know, you're taking the place of an entire group of people, and not an entire country is into that.
Yeah, that was brutal. I do, but going back to, I would definitely want to go back and rewatch the first 2, but I don't know if I could rewatch that third. That one,
It's such a mess. It's so crazy that they tried to shoehorn so much stuff in, like Venom, like that's a whole movie on its own.
yeah, which we've seen. They did the Venom movies, and they were very successful. I feel like people love those ones.
They do. I think the best Venom movies Upgrade though.
Well,
They
agree to
did that.
disagree.
Yeah, Fine, fine. But what do you got on your list before I just one day I will go back to those Spider-Man movies, but I will do 3 again, see if it was as bad as I remember.
I have two actually. I'm gonna go over with you right now because they're both thanks to you.
Oh,
Yes, so I owe it to you to go back and revisit Jason Goes to Hell and Halloween 3 Season of the Witch.
I agree. I think you should go back and give those movies another shot.
I feel like I hate them both so much, have hated them, and have died on that hill that they are the worst in the series for so long. But you for some reason love these films and speak very highly of them. So I feel like I need to go back with a less critical eye and just have my best John eyes on and just go into it to have some fun and see if I like it.
Yeah, if you just watch Halloween 3 without knowing that it's a Halloween movie, like in that same franchise, and Jason Goes to Hell, like I fully admit it's so dumb, but it's so funny that that movie exists, and I enjoy the hell out of it. And like the Duke character is ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I will be giving them another shot solely because you recommend it.
All right. Well, the next one I'll go with two A24 films up next that I want to go back to. One is Midsommar, and the other one is The Green Knight. I left the theater feeling the exact same way about both these movies, like incredibly well made movies, but I didn't love them. And like Midsommar, like people praise that movie up, and it's the guy Ari Aster who made Hereditary, which I think is a masterpiece. Maybe I should go back and try Midsommar again. I got the Blu-ray, Uncle V sent it to me, but I just remember thinking like this. I think they needed an editor. I think there was too much in that one. And The Green Knight, speaking of Riley Keough, I thought that was just a little bit too pretentious for what the movie I think should have been.
I agree with The Green Knight, and it's funny you have Midsommar on this list because it almost made my never go back to again list. It was there. It was like number 11 on my never go back to watch list because when I first saw it, first of all, it feels like it's 5 hours long.
It does. I think it's 2.5. And good morning, good morning, Our Life in Horror. Make sure you guys are subscribed to them as well. They are great, and Midsommar is perfect. Is perfection to me. See, that's the thing is people do think the movie is a masterpiece.
I do. I'm not saying it's a bad film by any means. Maybe I do have to revisit it and try to watch it again. But I just remember the first time I watched it, it was so out there. All the things that go on at the camp are just insane, and the ending, like just everything about it, really, it left me kind of speechless. And again, like I said, 2.5 hours feels like 5.5 hours because I think you're right. They needed an editing team to come in and cut. They could have cut at least 45 minutes out of this film and it would have been fine.
Yeah, I think that, and I think there's actually an extended cut of it too. So like people who are all in on it are like all in on it. And I also another reason I want to go back is because I did hype myself up as this is the director who made Hereditary, which again I think is like literally a 10 out of 10 masterpiece in horror. So I was, maybe I just overhyped myself for that, and that can happen. And maybe if I rewatch it now, I'll enjoy it more.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a lot of things go into viewing a movie and enjoying them. Your own like headspace, like you said, you go in expecting one thing and it's not, you get really disappointed. If you go in without those expectations, it might actually be a really good film. You might be grumpy that day or what, like you never know. So a rewatch wouldn't hurt, but that's definitely one that, like I said, it teetered on the line. It was almost on my never go back to list.
And listen, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. But that one I do want to try again because when people praise a movie so much and like, I felt a certain way, like, maybe I those are the movies I will at least try again.
Yeah, somehow you still don't like Jaws though.
I mean, listen, I like Jaws. All right. Let's not get the I give Jaws in my personal taste list like an 8 out of 10, but the film is still a 10 out of 10. I know I still will never believe that. If I don't say Jaws is the best film ever, I must think it's the worst film ever. I'll never get over that.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with two superhero movies next that I want to go back to. I actually have three on here. Should I just go with all three? Because they're all from about the same time.
Yeah, because I might have it. I actually was fighting to not put as many on.
Yeah, so they're off ones though. So I have Hulk, which we talked about, the one with Eric Bana, because I feel like as a kid I watched it and liked it, but it might have been, I was a kid. I have Blade because I haven't seen the original Blade in such a long time, and I feel like it comes up every time we talk.
I love Blade. I actually almost put Blade on yesterday. It's funny you said that because I had like a free, like I was getting a little tired, and I was like, I'll just put a movie on that I could just like watch, and like if I fall asleep, it's not a big deal because I watch it like every year. And
Yeah.
Blade was that movie, so I was like, maybe I'll throw it on again. But oh my god, I love Blade.
Blade, and then I put The Punisher, the movie with Thomas Jane as the Punisher.
That's the one with John Travolta.
Yes.
Yes, I actually like that movie too.
Yeah, I look those all three of those movies were movies that came out when we were younger, and I remember as a kid loving them. I thought that Punisher movie, he was so badass in it. I know there's been a series since then and everything. Same with Blade and Hulk. I just thought they were so good. They were a little darker back then than they are, like the MCU now is so bright and friendly and woo. I feel like it's Hulk Hogan in the 80s. Take your vitamins and say your prayers kind of stuff. Where like these movies, Hulk, Blade, and Punisher, were darker, they were edgier, they were based in reality.
Yeah,
And
especially
but I
that Hulk
haven't
film.
yeah, but I haven't seen them in, 15 years. So I feel like I want to go back and see if they're as good as I remember.
Well, one movie. It's funny because I have a superhero film on here, and I remember hating this movie, and that's why I want to go back. So the opposite of how you felt about those movies, you just haven't gone back to them. But we talked about this yesterday ourselves. Just Batman versus Superman. I walked out of that theater. I specifically remember getting up and like looking back at the screen as I'm walking down the aisle, like I can't believe that movie did that. Like because Batman, I love Batman. Like that's my favorite superhero, favorite like character in film. I just love Batman. I got a Batman tattoo. Like I love him. So I'm there. I got Ben Affleck looking at me right now as Batman. I don't mind him, but that movie and fucking Martha. But maybe there's a new edition out, like the extended cut that people have said is better. I haven't tried. I just they don't fix Martha. I know that.
Well, yeah, I think that's the problem. It just I feel like in the superhero rush, Marvel was the studio that really like blew up and did it slowly and developed everything. And then DC just rushed to try and catch up. And I think that movie fell victim to the rush. They were like, we just need to throw this all together. Let's go. And really just did it very haphazardly.
Uh
What?
funny thing is I just saw this because I saw Aaron Rodgers said this and he's worried about you about your ears.
Oh, they caused damage to my brain?
That's what Aaron Rodgers said. I did hear something like that you're not supposed to wear like those I mean I wore them for 6 hours yesterday. I wear them all the time. I think they do more damage to my ears itself.
Oh,
But
well, I appreciate it. I appreciate the heads up. I'll have to invest in some big boys like you got.
well, these are just for this. I have those ones that you have, and I wear those all the time.
Yeah. I didn't know I figured ear damage. I didn't know brain was part of it.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers said recently, and like take anything he says with a grain of salt because he's out there. He said he only wears wired headphones because of the brain stuff. He doesn't want his chemistry fucked up. I think something else screwed up his brain chemistry, so I don't know what he's all worried about.
Yeah. Well, before I get there, I'll have to invest in some new headphones.
Yeah, it's best to inform me rather than not. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no, thank you. I do appreciate it. I did not know that. So now I'm aware. Have to save up and invest in some better ones.
Yeah, just the guy. I don't know. As long as you don't die, Dennis, that's all I care about.
I'll do my best.
Don't for your own safety. Yeah, that's what's most important.
Yeah. All right, so we're up to mine now. All right, I think because you just talked about Batman versus Superman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with the kids one next.
Oh, okay.
One I haven't seen in a long time, and dude, loved it. Wondering what your opinion was. Small Soldiers.
Oh, well, there's a 4K coming out on July 22nd, a 4K Steelbook. I have it pre-ordered.
Dude, I want it. Probably one of my favorite movies as a kid. Like
me too.
So, dude, such a classic, but it's one of those ones I'm afraid.
I'm very afraid to watch this 4K. I haven't watched it since I was a kid.
Yeah, so like again, was it really that good a movie, or are we gonna watch it as an adult and be like, Jesus, I can't believe I like this?
I don't know. I'm hoping to get those nostalgic feelings. I'm not gonna lie to
you. Yeah, me too. You'll have to let me know because I want to go back and rewatch it, but again, I'm very concerned.
I'm concerned too, but I had to pre-order that because of the childhood. I was like, all right, let me see how this is again. If I hate it, I'll feel bad about it. But I mean, I love that movie when I was a kid. The Gorgonites, I can still remember them.
Yeah, you're damn right, dude. I'm Archer, leader of the Gorgonites.
Yeah. Tommy Lee Jones was the voice of one of them too. I
Yeah,
can't
yeah, the
wait.
soldier. Oh my God, dude. Major Chip Hazard, right? I think that
Yep.
was his name. Dude, such
Uh,
a good film.
I think Tom Arnold's in that movie too. Well, can't wait to rewatch that. Yeah, next month.
There you
Um,
go.
I got a childhood movies that I haven't rewatched since I was a kid, but I really like these movies. I'm afraid to rewatch these. The whole trilogy. I got the Mighty Ducks
Oh, dude, almost made my list too.
for that same exact reason as me. Like you haven't watched them in so long.
Yeah, and they obviously, I'm a huge hockey fan, played it my whole life, and still, huge fan of the sport. Loved, 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 loved the Mighty Ducks. Have not seen it. Probably did rewatch it, like 10 years ago as a young adult. Haven't seen it in at least 10, maybe even 15 years. And same thing as Small Soldiers. Worried that if you go back and watch it, it's going to lose that magic that it had.
Yeah, that's exactly the thing. I'm afraid that I'm going to lose like what I felt as a kid for those movies because, like, they are still Disney movies. But you know what? You know what movie came? Cool Runnings came out around that same time, and I still enjoyed Cool Runnings when I rewatched that.
Yeah, so that happens. I think that.
I don't apologize for it. I had loved through my childhood. Yeah, that's the thing. Like some movies will still hold up from your childhood. I still think the original Jumanji holds up.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing you have to remember. Sometimes a film has so much nostalgic value to you that it will forever be good. I think the ones that we're talking about where you go back, rewatch, and hate it, maybe you weren't as big a fan as you thought. But when you watch it, like Small Soldiers, we're so excited talking about it. I highly doubt you're gonna rewatch it and be like, "Oh, this was the worst thing ever." You're probably still gonna love it.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm hoping I will. I think I will. It's still a Joe Dante film, and every Joe Dante film I've gone back, I've enjoyed even more. Like Gremlins 2. I really like Gremlins 2.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I mean. So and like I said before, nostalgia is like it's the most powerful drug in the world. So I think that will make you, if you have that much nostalgia tied into something, you're never gonna dislike it.
I agree. I
Um, I have two more recent horror movies. So one of them I think is getting a sequel pretty soon. Black Phone.
Oh yes, Black Phone does have a sequel. I'm glad that made your list because I have to rewatch Black Phone before I see Black Phone 2 again. And I remember when I saw Black Phone that I felt a little bit like let down because the last time that these two teamed up was for Sinister, which I think is one of the best horror films of like the last 20 years as well.
Yeah, and I agree with that, and that's why I put it on this list. I know it's recent, I mean, it only was released how many years ago?
20, I want to say it was before the pandemic, 2018.
All right. So, I mean, it's under 10 years ago. I've only ever seen it once when it came out. Same thing. I had this thought in my head like it was going to be this unbelievable, because Sinister, like you said, Sinister was, I agree with you 100%, one of the best horror movies to come
21.
out. What did you say, 21?
21, yeah.
So 4 years ago. So it's
Yeah.
only 4 years old, and it's already on my rewatch list. It does have a second one, a sequel coming out, so that's part of it. But I do also think um, that it's really just I want to rewatch it, not like we said before with expectations, not expecting it to be Sinister.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I did that. That's the problem. I think
Yeah.
unfortunately I just went into it just with the old hope that it's going to be this great thing just because of what Sinister was, and you can't do that. You can't expect them to follow up, like even because I think Scott Derrickson did Sinister 2. I could be wrong, but Sinister 2 was not as good as their first one.
Yeah, no, I actually didn't really love Sinister 2 at all. I think they should have left it alone with the first one. I think they had perfection in the first one. I'm hoping Black Phone 2 doesn't do the same thing. I'm hoping it adds to the story instead it takes away, but I have to rewatch that first one just to, again, if not for my own like rewatch, just to give it another shot before the second comes out.
Yeah. Well, you got to find out for sure. Just make sure that it's from what I've seen from the trailers, like they're definitely doing something unique with it. But
Mhm.
if I remember, the first one was kind of just like a kidnapping story. So I'm very curious to see where they go. I got to rewatch it because I did only watch it the one time. So I'm right there with you on that.
Yeah, and then the second one that I had on here too was one that I know is very divisive for us, but that's Strangers Part One, the remake that just came out.
Oh yeah, that movie's horrible.
I feel like I want to rewatch it just to give it another chance. I watched it, and I think again, I think it's going to be horrible upon rewatch, but I think I went in expecting it to be as good as the original. And like we said, expectations can kill the reality of a movie. So I'm going to go into it with a rewatch, with an open mind, not treating it like it has anything to do with the original or Pray at Night. Try to treat it as its own film because I really want to like it because I do love the first two so much.
Yeah, I get that. I get wanting to do that again. Maybe I'll try that one again. I really didn't love it at all last year. So, but if they are actually going to do what they said they were going to do, which I don't know anymore, like do a Strangers Chapter 2, I'll rewatch Chapter 1 again before we go into that.
Yeah, that's again same as Black Phone. It's almost like I want to rewatch it because a sequel's coming,
Hmm.
and I just want to give it a chance. That's all.
Probably a lot of people in 1997 decided to watch Batman Forever before they saw Batman and Robin, so they were ready for that. And I bet you they were a little let down.
Probably a little bit.
I'm gonna put two like very art housey films on here that I think one I'm actually surprised didn't make your first list, and the other one I really enjoy like half this movie, but the other half just confuses the hell out of me. And so those films are Eraserhead and The Fountain.
Oh, okay. All right. Interesting. Interesting.
I love David Lynch, and Eraserhead. I saw it only the one time, and I didn't love it. I thought it was like I understand David Lynch, and I enjoy a lot of his stuff, but Eraserhead just to me like I was like, this isn't something I really enjoy. I get it. I get what it's going for about how it's about becoming a parent, the fear of that, and everything. But it's filtered through the David Lynch filter. I just felt like it wasn't he wasn't there yet completely. But people think this movie's a masterpiece, so maybe I have to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah, I'm actually in the same exact boat as you, where everybody that I have conversation with loves this film in particular, Eraserhead, and thinks, like you said, it's a masterpiece, it's perfection and everything. I do think it's a little bit scattered. It's not as focused as it could be. Um, like you said, David Lynch has his own method about him. So it was I don't know. I think it deserves a rewatch, if not just because everyone talks about how great it is, but I'm not sure it's really my cup of tea. I think that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to put it. That's how I feel. And then The Fountain is one that stars Hugh Jackman, Darren Aronofsky directed it, and it's got a great story in there about like a man. Well, it's not a great story; it's actually terrible for him about how his wife's like dying and everything. And, it's so tragic, and it really like hits you. Like it made me cry. But then the rest of the movie, it's like they're time traveling. Like I really truly don't fully understand the film because I only watched it the once. But it's got a beautiful score. I've listened to the score separate from the movie, just haven't gone back and watched the film again.
I've actually never seen that one, so it's one that I don't know. Do you think I should go watch it, or would it be on my not watch list?
It's another one of those like divisive films where people like absolutely love it or they absolutely hate it. Like it's Darren Aronofsky. He's the guy who made like Pi, The Whale, Black Swan,
Yeah,
all those Requiem for a Dream, like all those kinds of like messed up movies. That's
yeah.
usually what like his thing. Usually all his movies are one and done for me. I have never, I think, really gone back. Actually, I did go back to Requiem for a Dream when the 4K came up. Still fucked up.
Dude, I've only ever seen that once, and it might actually, it should have been on my list for never going back because it is, I remember that one was just, I don't know,
It's like an attack
crosses
on
a
your
line.
senses. That movie.
Yeah, it really is. I remember watching it like jaw to the floor the whole time because it's just nonstop.
No, and it's nonstop, like just stuff you just don't want to see. It's like literally just watching people like give in to their, obviously into their demons and not being able to come out on the other side. And that's rough to watch for 2 hours.
Yeah, yeah, it's rough, very rough.
Black Swan, meh. Yeah, just watch Red Shoes, better version. David Lynch never ever really made a film for mass appeal. And the one time he did Dune, he had a horrible experience. So he has a true artist and is a lovely man. Yeah, I love David Lynch. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Twin Peaks is one of my favorite shows ever. Just Eraserhead is like one of those films. Like that's why I had to go back and re-experience it. I do like that Dune though.
Oh wow, you like
Yeah.
it. Interesting. I only have two left. How many you got left?
I believe I have two as well. One, yeah, I got two.
All right, I'm gonna go with one. I saved this one because I think it's a hot button topic. I think a lot of people hated this movie when it came out, might still hate it to this day, and that's kind of why I want to rewatch it. And that is Secret Window with Johnny Depp.
Oh, I only saw this movie once too, and I don't remember liking it.
Yeah, I feel like that's why I have it on my rewatch list because I feel like everybody hated it, and I can't remember it being that bad when I saw it. I remember the ending being stupid with corn and braces and stuff like that, but like I don't remember it being so bad that people like want to strike it from history. So I kind of want to rewatch it just for that purpose to see is it actually that bad or are people just being kind of mean?
Yeah, oh, that's fair. That's actually a good reason to go back and watch a movie.
Yeah. So what else you got?
The other one that I got is a childhood one of mine, and that's Beethoven. This is one I also really loved when I was a kid, and it got like a remastered Blu-ray recently. I'm like, do I want to rewatch that? And I kind of do because when I was a kid, I really loved Beethoven. And you had a Saint Bernard who looked like Beethoven, which is funny.
Yeah, we sure did. Blaze, rest in peace, beautiful dog. Um, I love Beethoven, dude. I feel like that was the generation of dog movies, right? Because Beethoven, Homeward Bound, Air Bud, all those movies came out around here.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing. I don't know how you explain to younger people today about like Air Bud, and then the fact that Air Bud was so successful that it has like 12 sequels and a spin-off called MVP, Most Valuable Primate. Like,
Dude, yeah.
what an era of films. Have you ever looked up the Air Bud names? Like they're all puns on sports.
That's pretty funny. That is hilarious. I forgot. There was a lot of animals because Dunstan Checks In was around this time too, right? With the
Oh yeah,
monkey in the hotel.
they really gave us so many movies with animals in the 90s and just doing weird things.
Yeah, they loved a good animal movie, that's for sure.
Yeah, they did.
That's a good one though. I'd rewatch that. I haven't seen that or any of the other ones we've talked about in so long that those would be good rewatches.
Yeah, I gotta roll over Beethoven. Homeward Bound. Need Homeward Bound on 4K plus the sequel. Oh my! I'm actually surprised they haven't done that yet. To be honest.
Yeah, those were good movies too, dude. Such I don't know. They were really just classic.
I agree.
All
One
right,
day.
my last one. I don't know if you've ever seen this movie actually. It's called Behind the Mask, story of Leslie Vernon.
No, I have not seen that. Explain
This
this to me.
one, okay, so it's very interesting. I remember when I watched it. Mighty Joe Young was another one. Good call, Mr. Smelly Potato. That was really good.
Well,
Um,
Turner and Hooch was in the 80s. Yeah, well, Turner and Hooch and K9 are my two favorites if it comes to dog movies, but I already have those on Blu-ray right behind me. And
yeah.
I don't need to go back and rewatch them because I watch them every.
So the Leslie Vernon movie is the reason I want to rewatch is in my head I have it that it was so good, but I only saw it the one time, so I don't want to like hype it up too much. But basically, it's like this guy, his name is literally Leslie Vernon, and there's this documentary crew, a woman and her cameraman who's following him because he is aspiring to be a famous serial killer. And in this movie, Jason, Freddy, Michael, Leatherface, they're all real. So he references them and it follows him in basically training how to become them. So
Oh.
he's like working out, he's stalking people. He shows you like it's behind the scenes, like, oh, here's what I'm going to do to scare them. He sneaks in an upstairs window, slams the door, and then jumps out the window and hides on the roof. And then the camera shows the people walk in the room like they're all scared, like exactly like how a horror movie would be shot, but basically from the point of view of the serial killer and how he becomes the killer.
Oh, that's very interesting, actually.
Yeah, and I remember really enjoying it. There's a really good twist at the end. I don't want to ruin it in case you watch it,
No,
but
because I might watch that one. That actually sounds very good. It kind of sounds a little bit like In a Violent Nature from last year, how it's in the like POV of like the serial killer.
yeah, this one's a little bit more in the like scream sense where like, it's almost like not making fun of, but everything is
It's
very on
meta.
the nose. Yeah, where he says like, "Oh, I have to I'm scouting these high school kids because I need to make sure that the girl that I let live at the end is a virgin, and I have to kill the slutty girl and all the popular." Like he says that he's like, "I'm aspiring to be Jason. Like he's the guy who's good with the most kills. Michael's pretty good too, and I follow his footsteps." Like he literally talks about all the famous slashers and how he's trying to become them, and then does all the tropes to become them. So it is like a meta horror movie, but I remember loving it, but I only saw it the one time. So I feel like I got to watch it again to see if it's really as good as I remember.
You know what? That's a fair reason to go back and rewatch it. I just hope you're not let down. Well, oh, you could end up being like, pleasantly surprised and end up loving it even more than you ever did.
Yeah, I'll have to, but I'll let you know too because I think you might like it. It feels really good.
Yeah, definitely let me know if you I'm gonna actually add that to my list because I want to check that one out. Um, what's it called? Mellow Fell said, I just saw Lahine or Lahane again, pronounced first time on 4K. And I'm not saying that I don't like it anymore, but sadly, the film's not anymore as impactful as it used to be. And that can happen. I watched that movie last year on 4K and I thought it was amazing, just beautifully shot. But I could see, like, sometimes that does happen as well, like where you think something is amazing and you watch it the second time around and it doesn't click as much. Or like maybe you have a good theater experience and bring it home, it doesn't click as much. Like the Avengers did that for me.
Yeah, I think like we're talking about with film, a lot of things can affect how much a film changes you or affects has an effect on you. Like your mental state at that time, what kind of mood you're in, what the experience was like, where you are in your life, what you were going and expecting. A lot of times too, it's just as simple as the first time you see a movie, it shocks you because you didn't see any of it coming. Now you already know how the movie's going to go, so you rewatch it, and there's not really any surprise anymore because you know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and that is you can only watch a movie for the first time once. Once you know the twists and everything, sometimes that's it. The movie's done for you, or like those emotional moments, they don't have that same impact the second time around.
Yeah, yeah. So
So,
it varies, but I
yeah.
think you have one more left on your list.
Yep, and that is The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. That's my last one. And I bought the 4K to rewatch that. I haven't seen it in years. It's a Western, John Wayne Western, not John Wayne, John Ford directed this one, I believe, and it's Jimmy Stewart's like the antagonist. I remember this being really good. I just haven't seen it in a long time.
I actually have never seen it.
Oh, that's a good one. It's an older Western,
Okay.
so you
How old
might
are we
enjoy
talking?
it. Pretty old, I would say. Like I want to say the 50s or 60s.
Okay.
Yeah, but
All
it's a
right.
good one. Like as far as American westerns go, I think this is a very good one. I just haven't seen it in a while. Got to rewatch it.
Maybe I'll borrow it from you when you're done.
Yeah, all right. I'll let you know how it is.
My favorite book happened to read it. Yeah, no, I agree with that. How he's talking about Pet Cemetery became his favorite book, happened to read at a particular time and impacted him the most. That's what I mean. There's so many things that can happen in your life that when you're going through it, whatever you read, watch. I mean, it's everything: books, movies, music. Like a particular song you could be listening to that makes you cry and you feel it in your heart, and then 3 months later you hear the song again and you're like, this is fine. Same with a book. You read it, depending on where you are in your life, you might read that book and say, holy crap, this changed my life, and then read it 3 years later and say, no, it was just okay.
Yep. I've always the term is the movie doesn't change, you do. So you're always watching the same movie through a different prism. It could hit you at a different point. Like I always noticed that like with Dumb and Dumber in my life, which it's a weird movie to say, but I've been watching that movie since I was a very young kid. And things start to unlock as you get older with the movie. And then sometimes you get a little burnt out by it because you've seen it so many times. Just it happens.
Yeah, 100%.
And thank you, Our Life in Horror. I really appreciate it. I want to bang out a few more questions with you before we get out of here.
Yeah, let's go.
And so let's do the one that from Mellow Fellow about comedies coming to 4K Blu-ray, and how do we feel about that? Do you feel like that's a waste, or do you feel like that's something that should get upgraded to 4K?
So these are conversations I like to have because I think we have two differing perspectives. I'm more of the casual, and I think you're more the hardcore. So from my daughter was the same age as Gage. Oh my God, yeah, dude, I could not imagine having a kid around that age and reading that book.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah,
That's
no,
tough.
lock every door in the house.
Yeah, and that's another reason why you shouldn't watch Bring Her Back, because you're a girl dad. You don't want to see that.
Yeah, no. So yeah, with the 4K thing with comedies, from the casual perspective, for me, I don't think it's really worth it because to me, you're not watching comedies for the imagery. You're not watching it for the picture quality, the sound quality. You're watching it for the jokes. If the movie is funny, it's going to be funny whether it's in standard, high def, 4K. It doesn't matter. The movie will be funny. I think upgrading to the 4K is more so something when you're watching really in-depth movies that the setting plays a huge part with vibrant colors and deep dark blacks, and I think thrillers, suspense, those kind of movies really lend themselves well to the 4K. I don't think comedies really, especially with the price point. I mean, 4Ks get to 40, 50, $60 sometimes. Like, I don't think that's really worth it, particularly for comedy films. But what do you think?
It's funny. I used to feel that exact way. I've come around on it, and I've actually upgraded some of my movies to 4K. You know, within like reasonable price. But like Ace Ventura comes out on 4K at the end of July. I have that pre-ordered. Billy Madison comes out on 4K. I don't actually have the Blu-ray of that, so I probably will grab the 4K. But like movies like Uncle Buck got upgraded. I personally like love those movies, and it does make a difference. But I also still do feel very similar to you that as far as like what's the big deal if like a comedy gets upgraded in the audio category, because for the most part it's like dialogue heavy driven anyway, unless it's like an action comedy. But then again, like that's more like leaning on the action, which translates great to 4K Blu-ray as well. Certain stuff just it doesn't seem like there's a necessarily a point. I kind of just make like decisions based on if I love the movie, do I think it was a well shot film, will it look nice on 4K? But sometimes it's like doesn't need to be. Like I think The Mask will look great on 4K because that's also like a beautifully shot film.
Yeah, I guess movie to movie it can vary, and also it depends too. What's your reason for doing it? Like a lot of times, I tell you this all the time. Sometimes I just want to buy the 4K because I love the steelbook or the slipcover, whatever the art is. So if you're one of those kind of collectors like I am, where it's more the visual, like not a visual on the screen, a visual in terms of the actual box, then it's worth it. But I don't know about, like to me, am I going to really care that Billy Madison is in 4K? Probably not, because it's Billy Madison. Like I'm there because it's a funny movie, not because I care that the pool looks better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That water is going to look nice. That water is going to look nice, though. You got to admit, like when they're having like the parties at the house.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not knocking it, saying that it's not worth it. If you think it is, it is. Just my personal opinion. A comedy would be the lowest on my list, specifically again because of price. 4K prices are so high that if I'm going to get 4K films, I'm going to make them things that visually like it affects the movie. Comedies to me would be at the bottom of that barrel.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I guess I also get a little influenced by like ups because like if a new 4K comes out for a comedy, then I can talk about the comedy here on the channel. And I feel like not enough love gets put in by critics towards comedies. I feel like they always look at it as like a secondhand genre. And I've always hated that because I love watching comedy.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I can't tell you what the most recent comedy is that I've enjoyed. I feel like I have a very older taste for it. I like the early 2000s into the 90s and 80s, like way back then in the comedy era. I don't love a lot of new comedy, but I agree. I do think it gets I'm kind of giving it a bum rep right now, saying it's not worth upgrading. So I do feel bad. If you're a comedy fan, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just personally, I'd rather see, like you said, a Friday 13th movie get cleaned up than a Billy Madison movie.
Yeah, I get that. And William says, I stand by the fact that somebody sees a better quality. It's hard to go back. Only genres possibly found footage not need 4K. How some people may feel does need 4K. Yeah, that's also true. Like I found footage is one that doesn't upgrade probably great to 4K. You got to like kind of also think about how the movie's filmed. Like I said, Collateral, I didn't think translated best. Like some of those early 2000s films, like when they shot them with like those old digital cameras, regardless, it's just not going to look good on 4K. That's what people are arguing about now at 28 days later. It's like, how could that movie ever look good on 4K? Do you know what that movie was shot on? It's shitty.
Yeah, I guess that's another good point too, because you even said too in your 4K collection that there are some that are even major motion pictures that they did not transfer well at all, and it was not worth the pay bump because it still looks like garbage. So you have to, I guess, consider that too. There might be a comedy that transfers better than some action movies, but there might also be comedies that transfer worse than other movies. So you have to, I guess, do your research into it first and see, is it even really worth it? Because again, my main sticking point is just the price of 4K is going up. You got to kind of pick and choose what you want to add in that, unless you're a person who, I know William just said, like, once you see that quality, it's hard to go back. If you're that kind of person, then yeah, get it. Everything should be 4K. If that's what you like, absolutely do what you like, because you're the one at the end of the day that's going to be watching. So if you love 4K, do it. There's nothing wrong with getting comedies in 4K. I just personally, they wouldn't be on my collector's list.
And I just think that's important, like to say, because like not everybody feels like that. Like I kind of fall like with William, just on a personal thing. I usually just like to upgrade my movies to 4K because that's like the only thing I'll spend money on. Like, I won't, me, I don't buy any kind of clothes. So like that's just like something I'll spend my money on. I want to see it in the higher quality. It doesn't always work. Like you get burned. Like I'm working on me and David are working on a Heat podcast like for July. So I thought last night I'd throw Heat on. I put the 4K on for the first time since I got that 4K. I had it on for 10 minutes and I'm like, that's right. This 4K is dog shit. And I went and put the Blu-ray back in, and the Blu-ray is 10 times better, has the right color timing on it. Is it a little softer because it's not in 4K? Sure. But overall, much better experience for me.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing. This is not meant to be like an end all be all opinion by any means. It's just personal preference. And you also have to remember where it's coming from for me. I have I don't know, an Insignia television. Like, I don't have a sound bar. I don't have any of that stuff. My Blu-ray player was some Panasonic thing I got on Amazon. Like, so I wouldn't notice. But that's me personally. I wouldn't notice. There are plenty of people out there who do notice the difference and want the better sound. They want the better picture. They want the darker color or the darker blacks, the brighter whites. So if that's you, there's nothing wrong with that. That's what you collect. Collect it for sure.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what I always try and do on the channels. Like, fit within your budget. Like, gets what's best for you, what you like most. Like, don't feel like the pressure of having to go get every movie on 4K if you don't want it. I'll tell you if it's good or not, but you got to make the decision yourself because it's your money. Like, you can't be putting yourself in financial peril just because you want a movie on 4K because one day you won't have a house to watch it.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. I mean, and again, you could argue that I have the dumbest reason for collecting 4Ks because I do it for box art. So
Hey.
I'm spending 20, 30 extra dollars because I like what the cover looks like. So, to each their own.
You appreciate good art.
That's it.
Let's see what other one we said we were gonna do. I just want to make sure I have it. If this one, I think, right? Ben Rondo's. If you could replace any TV character, if you could replace one character in any TV show or movie history, which character would you replace? Now, I think we looked at it this from two ways. Do you replace it with another actor or do you replace it with us?
Yeah, so I went the actor route and we had this discussion and I think we both were pretty into it. Because we both love Ghost Rider, the
Yeah,
character
this
of
one was
Ghost Rider.
great.
And I think Keanu Reeves should be Ghost Rider.
Yeah, I agreed with you on this 100%. Like that's the perfect. We were workshopping it a little bit. We kind of got to like maybe Jason Statham, and Dennis said like, oh well, it's an American character, and I kind of came to the conclusion that Jason Statham is really just a British Vin Diesel. He's a better actor, but like they do kind of fit similar molds, like plug and play action kind of thing. I think Jason Statham, I like him a little bit more as a person and an actor than Vin Diesel. But hey, each their own.
Yeah, no, 100%. But I said Keanu Reeves, and we talked about it. He's got his own motorcycle company. He loves motorcycles. Also, I mean the John Wick films. He's an incredible action star. I think that he's just he would be great for it. I think he would just play that role perfectly. And I think they'd have to modify the character a little bit because Nicolas Cage's version of it was just really weird. Just overacted, underacted. I don't know what it was by him, but it was not good.
Nicolas Cage is always making a choice. It's just that you don't know if that choice is going to make sense or not.
Yeah, and I don't think it did in this one. I just think he would be awesome. You could bring Sam Elliott back too for that little cameo as the horse riding Ghost Rider. That was really cool.
Yeah, I mean Sam Elliott's
always
good.
Yeah, I mean that would be awesome. I just think Keanu Reeves is Ghost Rider because he's such a good action star as it is. And he's got the motorcycle company, which Ghost Rider rides motorcycles. I just think it would be really good. He'd bring a little bit of life to that character.
I think so. That's such a missed opportunity. Like people love Ghost Rider. Like that's another one like Spawn. Like such a cool character, and we never really got the true versions that we deserve. Like I mean, I like Spawn '97, but like, come on, we can get in today's world, we can get something good.
Yeah, we could. Another switch you could do too, because Sam Elliott's getting a little older. Bring Kurt Russell in to be the old Western version of Ghost Rider.
Oh, that would be great. Kurt Russell would be perfect for that. He really did age into like a modern day, like old Western star with his look.
Yeah, I think you have Keanu Reeves as regular Ghost Rider and Kurt Russell as the old Western version, and boom, perfect film.
Yeah. I think if you were I'll just piggyback off of that into Spawn. I think we kind of talked about it. Like Michael Jai White was the original Spawn. You can do like Michael B. Jordan today, but is he doing too much superhero films?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he would be really good in it though. He's a great actor. He's got not to be weird, but he's got the physique for it. He's in great shape. He clearly looks the part. He knows how to do action. I think he'd be a really, really good Spawn. Not that Michael J. Like the original was great. Absolutely. I think he played that part perfectly. And if he could still go, I'd have him play it again. But I do agree with you. I think that I think that Michael B. Jordan would be an awesome Spawn.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he'd be perfect in that role.
Who would you do you have anyone in mind for John Leguizamo's character though?
In Spawn, I don't know. He was perfect, but I mean, you could probably do Paul Walter Hauser today. Like I'm just thinking like he's a pretty good actor that's got some weight range. I like him. I could see him doing that honestly off the top of my head.
That'd be good. Dude. Every time we talk about Spawn, I just want it to happen so bad.
I know there's so much in there. It's such an interesting story.
Yeah, and it's just a miss. It's a shame.
I know. It really sucks. And we had one more question, right, that we can do real quick.
I believe so.
What was it? Do you remember? It was Thomas Anderson, right?
Let's see. Let me go back to our conversation.
Is this it right here?
Remastered in 4K and released soon. Let's see. You'll never watch again. Watch again. Upgrade 4K. Yes. Yep. What movie would you remaster in 4K and release soon?
So, what's a movie that you really would like remastered that you absolutely love?
That hasn't already been remastered?
Yeah.
This is where it's tricky because I'm not super into it in the sense that I know everything that has been remastered.
Try and pick something out of the ordinary.
Well, we did talk about it, and I kind of said that one thing I wish would come to it is the trilogy from Netflix.
Yes, you did say that. You want that. And I agree. That's something that should get that 4K Blu-ray treatment. It's a shame, actually, that it hasn't because it's just locked behind Netflix's wall. Yeah,
and I think that's the thing is most of the movies that I think should come probably never will because they're locked up in a streaming service somehow. There are all these original films. I love the UTV series too. That would be another one that would be cool to see, but probably never happen because it's a Netflix series. But I think Fear Street. I loved those first three. We talked about Prom Night and it was fine, but those first three, I would love to see those come to 4K. Unfortunately, Netflix will just never give the rights up.
No, they will not. That's the only problem. And then. And I don't know why. It's like free money. You just lend out the rights to your movie, let them, make the physical media editions, then they kick you back the profits.
Yeah. No, and they won't. I just don't.
I'll never understand that. Like, it's like you don't, like, you claim you like money, but you don't like it enough to help people out.
Yeah. What about you? You have one that hasn't been remastered yet?
I mean, there's a ton. Like, I can go through, Turner and Hooch and K9 are big for me. Like, I know those will never come to 4K, but, I can dream about that. There's always the classics. Like, I'm trying to think off the top of my head because I always make these lists, and I'm trying to think of ones that I haven't talked about. Revenge from the 1980s, which is a William Friedkin movie. I don't know if you've ever seen this. I just rewatched this recently, and Michael Biehn's in it too. This is a pretty good movie. I'd like to see a 4K of this because it was for a very long time unavailable to even watch. Like, it was gone. Like, nobody could watch it. They made the movie, and the studio that made the movie closed down. So wow. That. Yeah, and so it never got it got released 5 years later, after it was made, and people just completely forgot about the movie. I would like to see a remaster of that.
Mm-hmm.
Just to throw something random out there. The Mask, obviously The Mask, Dumb and Dumber. I want 4K Blu-rays for it just because those are some favorites of mine. We're getting Ace Ventura. I want the other two from that era.
That's a good Sandlot. I didn't even think of that. Sandlot, dude.
Nah, that's a good one, right? You said Little Giants before.
Yeah, Little Giants is awesome. I love that movie.
Yeah. Rick Moranis is coming back for Spaceballs too. So, hey, maybe we get him back for a Little Giants sequel.
All right, let's go.
Are you a Spaceballs guy?
I like I mean, I'm not the biggest fan, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm not the world's biggest Spaceballs fan either.
Yeah, I feel like I fall in that category. Same with Tremors. I feel like I'm not a Tremors guy, but people love those films. Just not, what was that? Starship Troopers or something like that was another one that people loved.
You didn't like Starship Troopers?
It was fine, just not really my thing.
Oh, yeah, I like that because it's it feels like a spiritual sequel to a RoboCop.
Okay.
Same director, and it's the movie's messaging is like basically like all the propaganda that they feed you is all
Mhm.
bullshit. Like that's kind of the whole theme of it. And then obviously the cheesy acting is great in it because they told Paul Verhoeven would tell them to play the role serious, even though he wasn't going to make a serious movie.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. The thing I've been trying to get a little bit more, and actually, I meant to ask you about films, like to give me a top 10 list or top 20 list, films you think I should 100% see I haven't seen yet, and 4Ks that you think are 100% worth getting, so I can, because like I said last time, starting to build that collection up again after losing everything, and I want a little guidance in that, because my instinct is always go to things I've already seen, things I already have that I upgrade, but it's always good to expand a little bit.
You know what one I always try and recommend to people? It's a great 4K. It's always on sale. Is The Dead Zone. I don't know if you've ever
Okay.
seen that movie. It's a David Cronenberg film from the 80s, but stars Christopher Walken, and he gets in a car accident. He wakes up in the morning, like actually goes into a coma for a long time. When he wakes up, he has like powers to see the future. And
Oh wow.
you think that'd be like, oh, like a really like awesome concept, right? But like he uses it like honestly for like darker stuff. Like he could see like when a serial killer, he helps them out trying finding a serial killer, or if kids are gonna die, or some political stuff going on. I don't want to ruin the movie, but it's great. It's based on a Stephen King book.
Interesting. I'll have to give that a look.
And the
That's
4K is incredible. It's just nobody. I don't know if people just forgot about that movie. I always loved it, and they did a great job on that. I
yeah.
like Tremors, but I really feel it's being overrated by people who grew up with it. That's a perfect example of was it greater if you were 8. That's a good point. I do think that 90s, there are a lot of 90s kids who probably saw Tremors at a young age and loved it. And I didn't see Tremors until I was an adult. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, same. I saw it when I was an adult, and that is a really good point. I think that the greater 8 part is, well, because we talk about it all the time, nostalgia and loving things you saw as a kid, but we're perfect examples. We saw it as adults and don't love it. Maybe if we saw it when we were 10, we would think it was the greatest thing ever, but we have different perspective because we weren't 8 when we saw it.
Yeah, unfortunately, we just, that's the thing. Sometimes movies get by, and when you catch up to them, it's like it's already too late. I think that's really what happened to me with the Blair Witch Project. If I would have saw it in the 90s, I probably would have liked it more or appreciated it more. But when you see it in the 2000s, and the internet already exists, it's just like they're just bad actors.
Yeah, the same thing. The first time I saw it, I already had so many people tell me it was the worst thing they've ever seen and that the ending was terrible and the whole thing. So I knew the whole movie going in, and I had such a bad taste in my mouth already because nobody liked it, that I went in not liking it. And guess what? I didn't like it.
And that's the problem. That'll happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you got to get out of here.
Yeah, I'm going to jump now, but thank you guys. Do you want to quick talk about our upcoming OG remake?
Yes. So our latest episode, which we recorded yesterday, will be out on Thursday, which is going to be Dawn of the Dead original versus remake. But we figured for you guys, for the next time, or when we put the poll out, which we'll put out on Friday, we'll let you guys choose. But we're also going to give you the option to choose the winner of this, which you'll find out in the video as well. So keep your eyes out for 2 polls, which we'll explain more in Thursday's video. But as far as the picking for the next show, we're going to give you 4 options, and it's going to be the 4 losers, right, Dennis?
That's right. The 4 losers that we thought would win. So it's The Crazies, Stepfather, House of Wax, and Hellraiser, I believe. So 4 options this week. All 4 came up short in the past 2 polls. So now we're going to go right around back to the loser squad and see what you guys want out of that one.
Yep. What was that? Yeah, I'm excited. Like we said in ours, we didn't think that Dawn of the Dead was going to win by that much, but it really did. But we want to talk about those other 4 eventually, so we want to put those back out there and see what comes out on top. There's some just interesting films that I personally would like to rewatch, selfishly.
Yeah, agreed.
Dennis, anyone ever told you kind of look like Liv Shriver? I can see it.
Oh, thanks. No, I haven't gotten that one before, but I appreciate it. I think that's a compliment.
I thought you always looked more like an uglier version of Wyatt Russell.
Wow, thank you so much. You always know how to butter me up, John.
Well, I'm sick of people always saying that you're good looking, so I got to tear you down.
I appreciate that. Well, no one looks as good as you. We know
that. No, but I hate it. Like when we'll be talking, Faith will be like, "Oh, Dennis is a really good looking guy," and I'll be like, don't tell him that. He doesn't deserve to hear that.
I appreciate you keeping me down. I really need that.
I don't want you getting spoiled.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
get an eagle on your head, you know, that 100% cotton. I love that. I honestly love Scream 3. I don't care if people hate that one.
Oh God. All right. Well, I got to bounce, go to work, but you guys, thank you so much as always for the questions. Keep them coming. Thank you for
Yeah,
the compliment, John. Thanks for keeping me grounded and telling me I'm ugly. As always, I appreciate it.
no problem. Don't get ahead of yourself. You're not on my
Yeah.
level yet.
All right, guys. Thank you.
All right, see you later, man. Thanks for being here as always, buddy.
Yeah. See you later.
All right, guys, and we'll get into the right here into the digital code giveaway. So if you guys entered into that, your name is on the wheel. And as far as question of the week for last week, Rogue16771 won, so he also gets a digital code as well. I'm getting a little low on digital codes, so I will show you what we got and everything like that as far as like what the digital codes are. And we also hit 5,000 subscribers, boys and girls. So thank you guys all so much for helping out. That really obviously means the world that we even hit 5,000. Never expected it. A lot of that, of course, is also due to Dennis, David, aka Shamrock Balls, even Matt from back in the day. Wouldn't have been here without him. But obviously, the big ones are all you guys. So I have to thank you guys so much. There will be giveaways, which we'll go into next Tuesday's show, because then the following Tuesday will actually be the giveaways. But these are these are the actual like digital codes. We actually ignore Assassination Nation. That is not on there. I don't know how that still made the list, but that's not on there. Ignore that. And MIB International. Those aren't on there anymore. But Jurassic World and the Jurassic Park trilogy are. And let's see. All right, let's spin the wheel for the first time and see who our winners are. Hopefully it doesn't play the music. All right, there we go. So we'll see. And I'll just sing to you guys. I will always love you. I can watch all the people just leave as I sing. But I also have a question about Kevin Smith that I'm going to answer for you guys as well, because I didn't answer this last week, and I want to try and make sure I answer everybody. Looks like Emmanuel's going to win, because it's if it doesn't land on Emmanuel, yeah, there you go. All right, congratulations, Emmanuel. That's obviously a long-time subscriber as well. We're going to remove you for the second spin. And we'll go back around for that. And let me find that question about Kevin Smith, because Kevin Smith has been in the news lately. I guess I can't. I don't know where it is. But anyway, somebody asked me to rank my top 5 Kevin Smith movies, and that's what I'm going to do for you guys, because I do love Kevin Smith, and Dogma was just released in theaters. Mr. Unknown Seeker, congratulations. So Rogue1677, Unknown Seeker, and Emmanuel, you guys won digital codes. You know how this works. Reach out to me at, Let's Talk ENTMT@gmail.com, or you can reach out to me at the artist formerly known as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, direct message me. Email's always the best, though. I just got a Mission Impossible US restored Blu-ray, and it's gorgeous now. That comes with all the cards. Do you want it? That comes with a digital code. Yeah, of course. If you want to donate the code, Mellow Fellow, I'm always willing to, I just redistribute them. I give them for giveaways. That's the only way I do it here on the channel. I like to give away my the digital codes. Congratulations on 5K, John. Thanks so much, John Doe Juggle. Obviously, you've been a supporter since like the very beginning. So you've seen this show, this channel, like from the very, and it was bad. I'm not going to sit here and pretend and lie. Like this channel was great from the very beginning, Me and Matt didn't know anything about recording or anything like that. We just knew we wanted to talk movies and video games and all this kind of stuff. And then eventually, like, the show found its audience, and it became kind of what it is today. I really think like David, aka Shamrock Balls, without him, this channel wouldn't be in the same place it is. Dennis's help, but without your help either, John Doe Juggler, like you've been a huge supporter. Obviously not just like with your subscription, but obviously your channel member. All you guys. Rogue1677, same thing. He's donated so much for the codes. All you guys. Mr. Smelly Potato obviously is a huge one. Nicholas Head, Uncle V, all you guys. I appreciate all that, like the support. Like I wouldn't be able to do it without all your help. There's just no way. I obviously have a regular job, so I have to like concentrate on that. But if I didn't know that there were people like who actually checked out the channel, I wouldn't make sure I set this much time aside for it. I do love it too. I can't sit here and lie. Like I love doing 4K Blu-ray reviews, like just because I love talking movies, and then get to talk with you guys in the chats over here or in the comment section. It's just nice to have other people who like movies as much as I do out there in the world, or physical media, because I'm sure a lot of you guys have the same experience as me, where You know, you go to your regular job and they think you're absolutely insane for collecting physical media or your love for movies. Like they go to the movies like 4 times a year, and that's a big deal. Like, you know, there's us out here who want to go to the movies every single week or watch a movie every single day of our life, and we want to share that passion. It's just hard when other people don't care. But it's understandable. So as far as my top 5, let me pull out this list of the top 5 Kevin Smith movies, because uh I do have a list of that. And I did a video me and Matt did years ago where we actually ranked every Kevin Smith movie, and we watched them all right before Clerks 3 came out. And I still haven't seen Kevin Smith's last film. I did go on the Kevin Smith cruise last year, and I've always really enjoyed him. He's just like, I like people like, that's kind of like what I strive to be, who are open and honest with everything in their views and everything like that. And he's always kind of been that guy. Of course, he'll talk for like 2 hours on one question, and I feel like me and Dennis can do that sometimes too, or me and David. It's tough, you know, like when you get a good question. So, I'll show the codes again. Yes, I can. Just ignore Assassination Nation and MIBE International on this one. Rogue One, Jurassic World, and Jurassic Park Trilogy are on there instead. Those were already taken from Kevin Kruger from last week. And then, oh, wow. Actually, and then this one actually has it on there. So I'm missing one. There's actually another one that I got to add. Give me 1 second. I don't know where that ended up, because there is one more. I don't know. How would I guess. Oh, here it is. Here it is. This is another one. Yep, there you go. Back to the Future trilogy, Clerks, all this stuff. Those are available as well. So at number 5, I have Chasing Amy. This came out in the 1990s, and I've heard people say that this hasn't aged very well. And that's understandable, because I understand, like, it's got a lesbian storyline. And, you know, Kevin Smith's a straight white guy, and I can see why people would say that this movie hasn't aged very well. But when I rewatched it, there is so much heart in this movie. Ben Affleck is great. This came out the same year as Good Will Hunting. So Ben Affleck was really all over the place. Kevin Smith even has a credit in Good Will Hunting because, you know, he kind of helped discover Matt and Ben. But I always thought Chasing Amy was great. At number 4, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back from 2001. This is probably my most watched Kevin Smith movie. This is my introduction to Kevin Smith. Obviously, it's a play on Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back. These are our heroes. If you were somebody who was into the View Askew universe, you love this movie even more. I wasn't at the time when I first entered it. So, like, I still all the movies references, and we're just watching the movie. It's just absolutely hysterical. The rules of the road. Will Ferrell has a great cameo. You know, some of the stupidest characters in film history pop up in this movie, but also you get Mark Hamill, you know, Blunt Man and Chronic. I absolutely have always loved Jay and Silent Bob. The original, the reboot's great too. Actually, we'll talk about that in a second. At number 3, I got Clerks, the original one, the one that started it all. I absolutely love Clerks. It's got some of the greatest monologues in film history. You know, it's shot terribly, but obviously Kevin Smith knows that. He made this. This is where the inspiration of Kevin Smith comes in. You know, this guy was working all day and then filming his movie he wanted to make at night. He's running up credit cards, all because he had a dream he thought that wouldn't even come true. He didn't expect everything that, you know, came to fruition. And he seems like he's always been very humbled by, you know, everything that kind of came his way thanks to Clerks. But Clerks is still a very rewatchable film. I think it's amazing if you've never seen it. Like, I get it if you're somebody like me who's like a cinematography snob, it might be a little bit tough, but I still can definitely recommend. You want to basically watch the making of Clerks, you can watch Clerks 3, which basically tells that entire story. Then at number 2, I got Jay and Silent Bob, the reboot. I do actually think that they did a much better version of Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back with this, bringing it to the modern age. And I think I enjoy this one more. It could just be that I got kind of burnt out by Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I think I've seen that movie. That's probably up there with the movies I've seen the most in my lifetime. Even last year when I went on the cruise, they only played 3 movies like on the TV. Like if you wanted to watch any Kevin Smith movies, they only played Clerks, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and Chasing Amy, and that all comes in a 3-pack. So I think they just had the 3-pack somehow or something with the rights, but whatever. But those are probably the 3 I've seen the most. And then at number 1, the one that just got a re-release, Dogma. I truly believe that this is the best Kevin Smith film you can watch. It's not a flawless film. It does have some issues, but Matt and Ben are great. The antagonists, but they're the ones like calling out everything in religion, all the hypocrisy of it. I just think that, you know, it's obviously a lot of Kevin Smith's thoughts put out on film. You know, you get Chris Rock in here. He's great as the 13th Apostle. George Carlin as the cool Cardinal. There's just so much to love about that movie, and I truly do love it as well. But anyway, that's my top 5 when it comes to when that comes to Kevin Smith there. Let's see any other comments. Just sent a chat for the movie. Thanks, John. Stay how long I come for work and classes. Yeah, no problem. I'll respond to you after the show. I'm gonna get out of here in a second, but again, I just want to make let you guys know what's gonna be happening on the channel before we get out of here. Questions of the week. Obviously, we'll go to the ones on the front. One from Mellow Fellow about the comedies coming to 4K. Evil Dead 1996 about his follow-up question to Mr. Smelly Potatoes question. So the top 10 movies that I want to watch, that we want to watch again, and the top 10 movies that we will never watch again. Those will be the 3 questions of the week for the upcoming week. Look for that poll usually out tomorrow. Tomorrow will be more of an announcement about what we're going to be doing for the giveaway for hitting 5,000. So make sure you watch the Jaws 50th anniversary 4K Steelbook review. That'll be out tomorrow. Thursday, original versus remake with me and Dennis. Friday is most likely going to be Goldfinger 4K Blu-ray review, which I will try and shoot today. And if I have enough time, the director's reviews will be out Saturday. If not, they'll be out next week sometime. The next week's mostly going to be concentrating on the New Guys 4K Blu-ray review. What else do I want to have out next week? And Lethal Weapon should be here sometime next week on 4K Blu-ray. If not, we'll have a 4K Blu-ray review for Sorcerer, I believe, as well. And then, of course, the big one leading up to Friday, me and David, a.k.a. Shamrock Balls, will be breaking down Tombstone. And really excited for you guys to see that because, I mean, we had a blast making that one. So make sure you guys check that out. But, you know, that's all the busy work and everything. Just want to let you guys know. And again, thank you all so much for 5,000 subscribers. We hope you enjoyed me and Dennis's show in the beginning. And, you know, we'll be seeing you around. And enjoy your day, guys. Thank you guys for being here with me. Have a good one.